Awesome. All right, we are live. Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. We are excited to be here. I am Gina from Advantage College Planning, and I am joined tonight by my colleague Jamie. And tonight we are going to be talking about the Why Us essay. When students are thinking about supplemental essays, when this is the time to be working on their college applications, the Common App is now live. So all those supplemental essays, or most of them anyway, are ready for students to see and start working on for their college applications. So we wanted to come on here tonight and talk about the supplemental essays, specifically one called the Why Us essay, which is a really common essay prompt that your student will see a lot of if they've started working on different parts of their common application in specific schools that they'll be applying to. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So as you are coming in, definitely let me know where you are coming in from, where your students are from. If you're a student here logging on, usually it's parents with us, but if you're a student, let us know what year you are. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Jamie and I are based in North Carolina, but we do have Advantage College Planning offices in multiple locations across the country. So we'd love to know where you're coming in from and also what year your students are. So the information we'll be talking about tonight with the Why Us supplemental essay is really going to be most timely for students who are working on submitting college applications this fall. But there will be great information. It's always good to know if you have younger students as well. So it's always really helpful for us to know who's here, how old your students are. All right, Andrea's here with a rising senior. Awesome. Mostly local North Carolina folks here. That's great. Fantastic. Yeah, so like I was saying, as you were coming in, Jamie and I are going to be here tonight talking about the Why Us essay. And as we go along, we will also be answering questions. So definitely feel free to put your questions in the chat. We'll be able to get to them and make sure that we're answering those either throughout the event tonight or by the end. So go ahead and put that in. Oh, lots of rising seniors. Jamie, this is going to be perfect. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So first, I wanted to welcome my colleague Jamie. So for those of you who have been with on these events before, you are familiar with my face, but you might not have met Jamie. So Jamie Pack is one of my colleagues at Advantage College Planning. She is a college planning consultant, and then prior to joining our team, she was also an essay specialist with Prompt. Prompt is another company that really specifically focuses on college essay support for students. So when I was thinking about who is the best person I know to answer questions and talk to people about writing a strong YS essay, it is definitely Jamie. So welcome, Jamie.
Thank you, Gina.
And Jamie is joining us from the Asheville area. So we are located, our main location is in the greater Raleigh area. And then Jamie works remotely out in Asheville. So she's hopefully enjoying some cooler weather than what we are experiencing here.
Hot is like 85.
Awesome. All right, so let's jump right into it. So I'd love to know, Jamie, like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about supplemental essays, specifically the Why Us essay, but it might be helpful for some context for people. If you could give a little bit of an overview of supplemental essays and the roles that they play in the application process, as well as that specific Why Us prompt.
Yeah, of course. So when most people think about the college essay or essay writing in the college application process, they are probably thinking about that longer essay, that personal statement. And Gina, I think you've done a Facebook Live before on that. We have webinars and other resources that talk about that essay. But there are also other essays that are part of the college application. So colleges are allowed to ask for their own essay questions. These are usually shorter. They're usually, about 250 to 400 words, depending on the school. And the prompts for these essays can really range from why do you want to go to our college, to tell us about a community that you're a part of, to how do you feel about Wednesdays. It's whatever information the college is hoping to learn about the student specifically versus the Common App essay, which is what goes to all colleges. So that's sort of an overview of what the supplemental essay is. Not all colleges have them. Some have more than one. I think I looked at our numbers from last year, and our students on average wrote 12 essays total apiece. So a lot of students don't know coming into this that yet there can be a lot of essays. And then that leads us to the why us prompt, which is probably the most common supplemental prompt. It is some version of why do you want to go to this college? And it could be, why do you want to study this particular major at this specific college? It could be just the words, why us? It could be, how do you hope to contribute to our college community? There's different ways that it can be worded. But at the end of the day, it is the college asking the applicant, why do you want to attend this school as opposed to any other school?
Perfect. So then when we're thinking about the why us prompt, as you said, it's probably one of the most common ones that we see. And one of the things that I know we both talk with our students about a lot is the importance of these supplemental essays. A lot of times I know students put so much focus on that big main personal essay, which is really important. It's going to all the colleges. And then they get to the supplemental essays and they think, oh, it's only 250 words. That's one or two paragraphs. And they kind of just put something together and send it. They maybe don't, put as much time and editing and effort and planning into those supplements as they do with the big personal essay. So can you talk to us a little bit about why these supplements are important and specifically this why us essay? If you see a why us essay, why is that one really important?
Yeah. So supplements as a whole are important because, again, it is specific information that the college wants to know. They're asking it for a reason. They don't want to read more essays just for fun. So whatever it is that they are asking a student, there's a reason behind them wanting that, and they want students to take their time and thoughtfully consider it. Gina, you mentioned that a lot of times students will put a lot of focus on the longer essay and then kind of crank these out. So a lot of times when we're reading essays, we want to make sure that it sounds like the same person wrote both of them, and the student took time for both of them, because you're showing that you're interested enough in that college to take time for their essay, to completely do it, to thoughtfully consider your answer, not just send something out the door because it's an easy application. The why us essay in particular, why it is so important. And sometimes one of the more important questions a college will ask a student is because they're looking to see who is a good fit for our university, our school. As students are building their college list, we want them to be thinking about what is a good fit for them. And colleges on the other side of that are thinking, who's a good fit for us? Which students are going to come to our school, contribute, be happy, not transfer, graduate on time, all the things that a college wants a student to do, but also who's going to contribute to our community in a really positive way? Who is the type of student that we are looking for? Who's a good fit for us? On the other side of that, the student can use that YS essay in an important way in their application to further demonstrate their interest in that college, to show demonstrated interest, to show I am really interested in you. Here's how we work together. Here's why we're a good mutual fit, a good fit for each other. And that student is maybe more likely to what we would call yield for the university. Colleges want to admit students who will also say yes back to them. And so by demonstrating that interest and showing that enthusiasm, you're showing that there's a likelier chance that you might accept that acceptance.
Yeah, it's showing that you put some thought into it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're not just applying because your mom told you to, or because your best friend is also applying, but it's like, no, I've thought about it, and here are the things the school offers, and here's what I offer, and here's how we would be a good fit.
Yeah, I tell people to think like it's like a relation. You're building a relationship. It's a friendship.
Yeah.
And so, Gina, if I want to be your friend and I just tell you all the reasons that you're great, you're like, cool, I'm flattered, but I don't know anything about you. I don't know if I want to be friends with you. And if I just tell you things about me, that's also not really looking into that mutual relationship. But if I'm like, here's what you have, and here's what I have, and here's why that works so well together, here's what we have in common, then we're maybe starting that friendship off on the right foot.
I love that. That's such a great analogy and great way to think about it. So then when students are sitting down to write this essay and they're going to go into it, trying to make this connection between here's what I have to offer, here's what your school has to offer, here's why we're really great. I think I know the answer to this. This is a rhetorical question, but are there any things that you would normally or just routinely see in the first draft of YS essays as you're supporting students that end up needing to go to the cutting room floor and we need to replace with something else? What should they be leaving out of these essays?
So when we think about this essay, especially if it's a required essay, if it's not a required essay, if it's optional, write it anyway.
Yes, wait, pause. Can you speak to that? I'm sorry. That is something really important, I think, for people to know, that sometimes on these applications, it'll literally say, this is an optional essay. And some essays truly are optional.
Yes. But I would say, so an essay that is truly optional, a supplemental essay that's truly optional, is an essay that you cannot answer. So for example, there may be a supplemental essay that's optional, asking about a time that you were disciplined by your school, or maybe something in like a criminal record. If that has never happened to you or your student, that is an essay you don't need to write. That is not for you. But if there is an optional essay that you can answer, you can have an answer to, like, why do you want to go to this college? That is an opportunity that you don't want to leave on the table. You want to make sure that you are taking advantage of every opportunity you can to let the person reading your application get to know you. So even if it is an optional, what brings you joy, like my neighborhood school, UNC Asheville, that may be like, oh, that's kind of a fun, silly question. I don't need to answer it. It's optional. You really should, because you want to make sure you're taking every opportunity that you can. Again, especially if it's, why do you want to go here? Because if you think of the number of applications that college is getting, almost every student is going to be writing that essay. Every student's going to be writing that essay if it is required, which kind of leads us back to what I would leave out from that essay. If you think about 30,000 students writing the same essay, things tend to crop up over and over and over. And that first draft of that essay tends to be pretty vague. Sometimes not even about the college. It might be about the location of the college, or the weather, or the companies located in the same place as the college, or, you're really excited to study abroad in Italy, which is not the college. So things like location, athletics. You can be a really huge fan of their athletic team, maybe your whole life, maybe not the reason you want to focus your whole essay on. Things about like ranking or reputation. Things that are really general to lots of colleges, like the existence of a study abroad program, as opposed to a really specific opportunity within your major. So anything that's more vague, how pretty the campus is, the campus size. I want to go to a medium-sized college. Cool, there's lots of those. Why this medium-sized college? So those are things that I tend to see in a first response. And colleges tend to the point that I've got College of Charleston's prompt. It's my favorite Why Us prompt. And they call it out. They say, many students apply to the College of Charleston based on our location, size, reputation, beautiful campus, and nice climate. While these are all important considerations, why is the College of Charleston a particularly good match for you? So they're putting that in their prompt because that's the answers that they are continually seeing. And so the reason that I think that these tend to be really common things that people talk about in this essay is, this is not an essay you should just sit down and write. Students are sitting down and writing it, and that's what's coming to mind because they loved their campus tour. The weather was great. They loved the location. Maybe their tour guide talked about all their internships, and that's what they're just kind of cranking out in that first draft. But this is an essay that takes some research. It takes some research of the college, some understanding of the college. So I saw someone has a rising junior. So we have our students do a lot of college research in their junior year and take good notes so that they're not having to start this process as they're writing that essay question. But you got to look into what the college offers. And I would also say go past the first website you find, because everybody else who Googled it is also going to find that same information. It's not about trying to write the things that no one else has ever written before. But it's more about trying to figure out what is unique to you. Again, another opportunity for your reader to get to know who you are. I think I answered the question and started talking about other things, but.
No, that's perfect. Yeah. So basically leave out, like, do a run through, do a brain dump of, here are all the things I know about this school, and then check yourself. Yeah. And maybe use, College of Charleston as a guide, right? So if you're talking about location and weather and all of these things, that's not enough, and we need to go back to the drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, okay, opposite of that then. So now here's what not to do. So then what should we be actually focusing on? I loved what you were saying about, don't just go to the first website or first page. because that's definitely what students do. They'll go to the college's website and they'll go to the psychology page because they know they want to major in psychology, and they'll get some information off that first page and incorporate that. But if students dig a little deeper, there's a lot of links on that psychology department page about student clubs and research opportunities, or maybe a concentration within the major that's specific to them. So can you talk a little bit more about kind of how to find those other things to actually include to make your essay stand out?
Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes when a student sits down to write this essay, they start with the college and they're trying to figure out what are all the good things I know about the college. And, they end up writing about like, your reputation is great, your professors are great. And it's a little vague flattery essay. Students should start with themselves. They should start with what it is that they want. Go back to the idea of a good fit college for them. So academically, socially, environmentally, what does that student want in their college experience? Make that list. And then look, all right, I want this. What does the college offer? I want this. What does the college offer? And see where they match up, and then link those together. So here's what I want. Here's what you have. Here's why I want it. The why is important, or why it's important to me. That's the important part of this essay that helps your reader understand you. So if we're talking about class size, saying I want to go to a college that has small classes, that is a reason. That's a good reason to have to want to go to a college. But you're not really helping your reader understand, all right, why? Why is that important to you? Because yes, we really advertise that we have small classes. That's something we're proud of, and that's something that lots of people are looking for. But if you talk about what that means to you, so, in my high school classes, the classes that were less than 15 people, we were able to contribute more. We were able to have more discussion, and that's how I learned best. I noticed that those teachers gave different types of assignments because we could have time for presentations, and I found that I really liked learning and showing material that way. So making that connection, the connection to why, is going to be great for any type of essay, but especially for this essay. So I would start with the student, but then when doing your research, dig deep into that website. So Gina, earlier you mentioned mission statements. What is the university's mission statement? Is there anything there that speaks to you? Spend some time on the departmental websites, like Gina mentioned earlier, for majors, minors, or concentrations. Maybe even look at the gen ed requirements. Some schools definitely structure those differently. They give students a lot more flexibility or a lot more options. Maybe that's really appealing. But also look at the social aspects as well. Look at student life. Most colleges, it's sometimes a little bit harder to find, will have a long list of here's every club on campus. Are there clubs in there that really appeal to you? And if they're listed in alphabetical order, don't pick one from A. Make it look a little bit like you scrolled a little bit to dig a little deeper. But if there's a club that interests you, do those clubs have social media that you could look at to see what that experience is really like? I think social media is really great for this particular essay because it can give you a lot of information from a student's perspective. If you are doing a tour for the college, what questions did you ask your tour guide that the answers made you really excited about the school? Can you include that in your essay? We want to look for ways to make it really specific and really unique to your needs.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of including here's what I want and why I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know we talk with students so much when we're focusing again on that large personal essay about details. Add the details. Chances are you're not going to come up with some wildly unique personal essay, and you're also probably not going to come up with some wildly unique reason why this school's a good fit for you compared to everybody else. But by putting in all of those details of here's what it is and here's why I want it, that is potentially going to be different than the other 30, 40, 50,000 people who are applying that same year. I love that. So there is a little trick that Jamie does that I have since stolen, and I call it the Jamie name swap trick. And so when we're working with students on these YS essays, there's this little trick that we do before we can say, okay, this essay is totally final and we're going to check it off and we're going to say that it's good. So if you're here tonight, you're going to get some good advice here and learn about Jamie's name swap trick. So tell us a little bit about that.
I did not invent this. I got this from someone else.
I just call it yours because I learned it from you.
Yeah. So the goal here is that these essays are unique. And a lot of times they are not. A lot of times students, not any of you watching or any of your students who are watching, because you would never do this, but will take the same essay and change the college name and paste it into every college asking that question. That is not what we want, because then there's a good chance you're sending NYU's essay to Columbia and everyone is sad. But the name swap test is, can you change the name of the college in your essay and it still makes sense? If you can, you need to keep working on that essay. So we don't want it to be, all right, this would work for any urban college in the Boston area or any medium-sized rural college, because the reasons that you've chosen are not specific enough to that college. Because they're going to read that essay and be like, well, this could also be about our rival across town, and maybe that student's also applying there, and maybe use the same essay, because it's not really specific to us. So if you can interchange the names of the colleges on your list or a college in that near that other college, then we need at least another draft. We need to go back to the drawing board and figure out some more targeted and specific reasons why that college is a good fit for you. And if you are sitting down to write this essay and you cannot think of a single reason why you want to attend that college, maybe that college shouldn't be on the college list.
Yeah, that's also a good test. I love that you mentioned kind of going back to the idea of demonstrated interest, right? So if there's, because colleges know who they typically cross app with. They know who are their colleagues, essentially, right? They know, okay, if students are applying to us, typically they're also applying to like these 5 or 6 other schools. We know who our competitors are. And back to Jamie's earlier point about yield, colleges want to admit students who they know are going to or have a good chance of choosing them back, right? Because at the end of the day, I say this all the time, colleges are businesses. They have numbers that they need to hit. They know that they need to enroll an incoming freshman class of X number of students. And so based on previous data and all the different metrics, that means we need to admit about Y number of students to end up at X, right? But part of that, and that's a big part of what the admissions officers are doing, are looking for the students who have the higher chance of yielding. And then also, to Jamie's point, the students who also have a good chance of staying and being happy and not transferring and graduating on time, because that's also data that the college is collecting and then also being rated on, right? Mm-hmm. So writing that really strong, unique, personal Why Us essay, if the school is using demonstrated interest, is going to give you a little bit of a bump.
And I would argue that even if a school is not technically using demonstrated interest, but they ask this question, they kind of are.
Yeah. The psychology is still there, right? Yeah, absolutely. So, overall, bottom line, right? So what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is that the Why Us essay is the student's opportunity to show the college that you are interested. This is an intentional act that you are making by applying to this school. You are demonstrating maturity by showing that you've thought this through. You're not just applying on a whim or because somebody told you to, right? You're also showing that you're taking initiative to learn more about something that you say that you want. That's also a bit of maturity, right? And you're showing the school that you have started to already think about who you're going to be on that campus, right? You've already started picturing what that could be. You're taking the steps to already become an active, successful member of their community. So what more could they possibly want, right? So if you can hit those key points, you're going to end up with a Why Us essay that's really strong. It is going to serve you really well in your application review. So we wanted to open it up for questions and answers. You can go ahead and put them in the chat where you were putting in where you're tuning in from and any of that if you do have any specific questions. As you are typing those in, I will let you know that I will be back here on August 20th. On August 20th, I'll be talking about the college planning timeline from beginning to end for younger students. So thinking about the school year getting started, so 9th through 11th graders, kind of what that timeline should look like each year. So I'll be here on the 20th to talk about that. But back to Q&A. So Cindy has a question. Cindy said, should you state that the school is your first choice in the Why Us essay? What are your thoughts about that?
Is it? Because if you're telling every school it's your first choice, probably not. I think saying that a school is your first choice is okay, but it's only effective if you have a strong why. It's kind of like saying, I want to go to a medium-sized school. I want to go to, I mean, they assume that you want to go to their school because you're applying, but we want to know why. We want to know why it's such a good fit for you. What did they have that literally no other school offers? And that's what makes it your first choice. So if you're my first choice because I can't wait to come and play club volleyball and study abroad and study political science in your awesome political science department, you could do those three things at almost any college. And so if your reason is truly, truly compelling, if it is, this is literally the only place I can get this experience, then maybe that's appropriate to say. But also, I think you can also say it in your passion and your enthusiasm without, I don't know that it's really going to bump you over by saying it's your first choice.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like Jamie said, you could say that for every school, but then is it really true? So a really strong why us essay, Cindy, would basically convey that this is your first choice school, show that it is your first choice school without even having to state it. That's how you know you've got a really strong why us.
Yeah. I'd rather see strong reasons than a strong first choice statement.
Yeah. You got to back it up. Great question. Awesome. So great. Well, so if you have found this information helpful, we have a lot of other really great resources here on Facebook. I'm on Facebook Live every couple of weeks. But if you head over to our website, advcp.com, you'll also find a wide range of wonderful resources for free, including Jamie's blog. So Jamie writes our blog, and she's got everything on there. And you can go back and see previous editions of the blog, as well as the most current release. She's got everything covered on there, from testing to essay writing to course selection, everything in between. It's a fabulous, wonderful resource. So definitely check that out. Our colleague Ariel also hosts our podcast, so that's on there. And then we also have opportunity to schedule a consultation with us if you have any questions and you want to talk with us about what our work could look like individually, one-on-one with your student. You can schedule that. And if you have any questions, you can email us there too. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was so great to have you all on here. And again, I'll be back on August 20th talking about the college planning timeline for younger students as they're navigating the start of high school. But I hope you all have a great Sunday, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.